Hello everyone and welcome to my weekly wrap up. So I've not really had the best week, if I'm going to be honest, for various reasons that I'm not going to bore you with. I haven't been sleeping too good. I've had some stressful stuff going on at work and things like that. But reading wise, I have managed to finish 2 books and 1 graphic novel, so I'm pretty pleased about that, and it has been a pretty good reading week for me too. So I gave one of them 3 stars, one of them 4 stars, and one of them 5 stars. So it has been a pretty good reading week for me. So I'm going to start off with the book that I gave 3 stars to, and that is The Gloaming by Kirsty Logan. So this follows a family who live on a remote island surrounded by magic and folklore and lots of local stories and things like that. And whenever anyone dies on this island, they go up to this cliff's edge where they just turn to stone, and that's like them being immortalised in the island forever. Our main character, Mara's family, suffers a tragedy when Mara's quite young, and she harbours a lot of guilt and bad feeling about this because she feels that she possibly could have done something to prevent this. And the story basically just follows Mara's coming of age, learning who she really is while maintaining who she wants to be ultimately. She ends up meeting a very ethereal, mysterious girl called Pearl who she falls in love with, and it's just about introducing Pearl from her present into her past and letting her in and things like that. It does get really, really emotional, and I really appreciated Kirsty Logan's very lyrical, whimsical writing style. It lends itself perfectly to this magical realism genre that I know she writes in. The only reason I couldn't give it more than 3 stars was because it did take me a little while to get into, and it was quite confusing at the start because it seemed like every chapter was from a different person's viewpoint, and also some chapters were in different time periods as well. So it did take me a little while to kind of get my head around that, and I do think some people possibly would have given up on this book because of that before it got to the really kind of meaty, emotional part of the story. I did write a full review of this on my blog, so I will of course leave a link to that review in the description down below, so check that out if you are more interested. The book that I gave 4 stars to this week is a graphic novel called Watchmen by Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons. So this was actually lent to me by one of my real life best friends who absolutely adores this graphic novel. I have seen the film quite a long time ago, but she said that this graphic novel is just so much better than its film adaptation. So this follows a band of people called the Watchmen who are, they take it upon themselves basically to become crime fighters and fight back against all of the dangerous criminals and villains that are terrorising their city. It is just so action-packed. It's really strange, as graphic novels and comics tend to be, but I really appreciated the way it went into all of their histories and their origins and their relationships and things like that. It was quite philosophical at times as well, which I wasn't expecting entirely. Also, it's kind of told in mixed medium kind of thing, because you've obviously got like the kind of classic graphic novel layout with the pictures and the speech bubbles, but then also it has like extracts from like newspaper articles and letters and like pages of other books like autobiographies and things like that. It's just super interesting, and I really love the way that it was all put together. So yeah, really happy that I read it. And if you're looking for a superhero comic book that is a little bit different, then I would definitely recommend picking up Watchmen. And the last book that I read this week, I gave 5 stars to, and oh my gosh, it is absolutely amazing, and that is Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi, which I think is how you pronounce it. So this is a YA fantasy set in West Africa, and it follows a young girl called Zeli who her mother was taken away by an enemy tribe when she was very young, and magic was eradicated from this world. And basically it's all about Zeli with her brother Zayn and a princess called Amari banding together to hopefully get magic back into this land and overthrow the tyrannical kingdom that has eradicated it and slaughtered so many innocent people. But it is just so so good. I can't really talk too much more about it because I know I will end up spoiling things, but the chemistry between the characters is just so beautiful. A very unique magic system thrown in there as well. So heart-wrenching and so emotional, and I just couldn't put it down. I really couldn't. There was just action. It was so action-packed. There was stuff happening all over the place. Every time a chapter ended, you knew that there was a setup for something else major that was going to happen. So obviously then of course you have to read the next chapter and the next chapter and the next chapter. It was just so good, and it is worth all of the hype that it is getting. Honestly, it was absolutely amazing, and I believe it is the first in a new YA fantasy series as well. And I've been struggling with YA fantasy recently, as you guys will know, but this has reignited my excitement and passion for the genre. So I'm super excited to see where this series is going to go, and I thoroughly recommend you picking it up, even if you're not a YA fantasy lover, or if like me you were getting bored with YA fantasy. This is so unique and so good, and I promise you will not want to put it down. So yeah, that is Children of Blood and Bone. And that is it for my weekly wrap up. What have you read recently? Please let me know. I will leave all of my social media in the description down below. I hope you're having an awesome day, and I will see you very soon for another video. Bye bye.